Howdy, hello, and welcome back. My name is Sajay Preferred.
And I'm Amber Valentine.
And today we are back for the Preferred Recap Part 2. So with another into a year, we are back again for the Preferred Recap Part 2.
Yeah.
So last year, about the same time, we did the Preferred Recap Part 1, and it's essentially where we went through all the videos, we ranked, if we liked the video, if we didn't like the video, and that's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Today we have a little bit more of some playing fields. We have two little cards here. We have preferred and unpreferred.
Yeah.
So this is actually a reference to the only drag daughter I've ever technically had, which was my cousin, and their name was unpreferred, spelled specifically like this, not to get mixed or confused with a popular get it? Show. Anyways, not to get it confused with that. But yeah, that's essentially what we're going to be doing. We're going to be going literally down the list, talking about some behind the scenes stories maybe of an episode or a moment on the channel. And then when we get to a specific segment, such as the Preferred Podcast or Newer News, we're just going to talk about those as a whole. Specifically because each individual episode is going to add a little bit of time and we don't have that.
Yeah.
But stay tuned at the very end of the episode because I think we have some awards to give out.
Yeah, we love awards.
So we're going to start off the list. Technically, we're going to do a little cheating to start off. We're going to start off the list with the Preferred Recap Episode 1, Part 1.
Okay, I mean, that is a good start.
Technically, yeah. So this one technically wasn't reviewed at the time because it wasn't out. But, looking back at this was a very funny video.
It was quirky.
It was very funny. So for me, I'm going to give it a preferred.
Okay. I really enjoyed that video a lot. Especially because, there was some updated faces.
Yeah.
And just drag in general for myself. So I give it a preferred.
Yeah. It was a very funny video.
It was fun. It was so fun.
And this was the video that we actually announced the newer segment coming to, I guess not even segment, the newer part of the franchise, which was the Preferred Podcast. And at the beginning of the year, last year, we had the Preferred Podcast Episode 1. And it started off, it had a very rocky
road.
Yeah, it was not good. As a whole, because we're ranking these two as a whole, the Preferred Podcast and Newer News. So as a whole, I'm going to give it unpreferred.
Wow.
It just wasn't the tea. It really wasn't the moment. It was so much work, so much stress. And for what?
The Preferred Podcast, I really enjoyed that we took a different spin and tried something new, and we really did put our all in it. And I really enjoyed that we could do that not in drag.
Yeah.
Because this, y'all, no.
It's a lot of work.
It's not it. I'm going to give the podcast the credit that it's worth, and I'm going to say preferred.
So next up on the list, we have Becoming a Drag Assassin, ? And this was like a vlog type video where I went and did Drag Assassins.
Yeah.
At Alice on 7th.
And she was
This, I did not win.
Duh.
But this was a pretty good video. I remember having a lot of fun doing this. I remember having a lot of fun with my numbers. Oh, I did Beauty School Dropout. That's when I did Beauty School Dropout.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to give this a preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred.
Yeah. And I mean, we constantly still go to Drag Assassins, so maybe it's something we'll see revived here soon.
Yeah.
Next up on the channel, we had the Drag Room Tour, which we actually just had an update to in some form or way, a newer video too. But this was a very fun video. This was, I don't know, it was kind of boring when you put it down to it. But the way it was edited, it was very quirky. So I'm going to give this one a preferred.
So I'd give it a preferred because I thought it was a smart idea. I thought it was a great idea. And, I mean, hey, it was the first one you did.
Yeah, and the edits were really, really cool. I thought the edits
Back
were
when
really
you used
cool.
to over-edit your videos because they weren't funny.
Wow. So rude. Next up on the list, actually was quite a minute down, but we had the preferred few with Veronica Salvatore So I believe this was episode 7. So Veronica was the 7th episode of the Preferred Few. This was a very funny video. She was super shady, so I'm gonna give this one a preferred.
So I know in a previous video, we talked about one of our favorites on the channel, and Veronica is just one of my favorite people in general. Super sweet, super energetic, super there for everybody. Crackhead
Energy.
So
times 10.
I'm gonna automatically give it a preferred because it is Veronica.
It was the tea. Next up, though, we had a series on the channel that is no longer, unfortunately, but it was the Preferred Trivia Show.
I'm glad it's no longer a thing.
Why?
No reason.
Why?
No reason.
Because you sucked up absolute ass at it?
I wouldn't say that. I just could never win it.
Honestly, it was a very cute idea, but it was just so much work to put together. It took a lot of scheduling due to having to get 2 people scheduled. But for
Even
the first episode,
I was already here.
Yeah. For the first episode, for an experiment, I'm gonna give it preferred.
Mm.
It was pretty funny.
I'm gonna give it a preferred because I mean, trial and error. That's
Yeah.
all. That's what a YouTube channel is for,
Mhm.
and it was a great idea.
Mhm.
I really loved it. It was fun for everybody else.
And for the
but
second that it
I'm glad to
lasted.
see everybody else smile.
Yeah. Big old loser. Next up, though, we have Running a Show, which was kind of like a talk through of how I ran my shows in Dothan. It's a very weird idea. Honestly, it's one of my least favorites. I'm gonna give it unpreferred. It just wasn't the tea.
I'm gonna give it
Yeah.
preferred.
It's just not giving.
No.
Next up, we had the real kickoff to our preferred choice, which was our preferred seasons of Drag Race. This was a very funny episode, and I love these outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I'm going to give it preferred.
I'm gonna say specifically because that was the day that I didn't have big lashes,
Whatever.
and it was my eyebrow was way up here because I painted for big lashes.
I'm going to give it preferred. I thought it was funny. I thought it was quirky. And it was really, like I said, the kickoff to our preferred choice. Next up on the list, we had Becoming. This is actually around the time that I wanted to start making more scheduled series on the channel. So we had Our Preferred Choice really popping off, and then we had Becoming with Sage, which is where I attempted to do the makeup of another famous drag artist, makeup artist, so on and so forth. And the first official one was Becoming Mistress Isabel Brooks, and I thought this was a huge success. I thought technically the first one was Becoming Trixie Mattel, but that was before it was thought to be an idea. However, the Becoming Mistress one was a really A1 attempt. So I'm gonna give it preferred.
I'm gonna give it preferred.
Yeah. Next up on the list, we have our preferred lip syncs of Drag Race. This was probably the funniest episode of our preferred choice to this date. Mm-hmm. So I'm immediately gonna give this a preferred.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a preferred.
Yeah.
Especially because our looks popped off.
Next up, we have the Broadway collection, which was to celebrate the start of the preferred brunch, which was Broadway themed.
The start and the end.
This was sort of like an our preferred choice where we ranked our preferred Broadway moments. I'm gonna give this an unpreferred. Next up on the list, we have the Preferred Few episode 8 with the one, the only Vanity Lachey. This was an incredible episode, so funny just because of our chaotic energy. I feel like we literally just vibe off of chaos with us. And fun fact, I literally saw her at work the other day. She came into the store and I was like, hey girl.
I seen her somewhere else today.
Oh, I bet you did.
Not in person.
Anyway, so I'm going to give this one a preferred. It was such a funny episode, such an incredible guest. Preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred because I love Vanity.
Yeah.
Vanity deserves all the love.
Up next, we have the Preferred Trivia Show, episode 2, with special guests Leviathan and Veronica. This was such a very funny episode. So this one was an absolute preferred. It was so hilariously funny.
I'm gonna give it a preferred.
Next up, we have the preferred few with Mama, episode 9. This was such an incredible,
You might as well, because she gonna whoop our ass right
now. Yeah. On to the next. Next up, we have Behind the Show, which was actually a video filmed and directed by yourself. You literally filmed it, edited it, directed it, everything. And it was a behind the scenes of the Preferred Show in Dothan, Alabama. So this was a very nice idea. I liked how it was like put together. I think as a whole, though, it was just so many clashing ideas mixed with the last minute of time, because it was such a last minute idea. However, the idea as a whole was so good, so I'm gonna give it a preferred. So I feel like as a whole, as a long run, it was a successful moment.
Yeah, it was good.
Next up, we have another episode of Our Preferred Choice. Before it was technically Our Preferred Choice, which was Our Preferred Songs of Drag Race, where we ranked the top 4 songs from Drag Race. I'm gonna give it preferred.
I remember it being bland, but it was
because it was. Funny. I specifically
the
remember the editing was funny because I specifically remember us being tired and kind of over it that night. So I had to make it funny with the editing.
And honestly, knowing us, we were probably filming like 5 videos that night.
So I'm gonna give it a preferred. Actually, we were. This was the same night as something we can't talk about. So I'm gonna give it a preferred.
I'm gonna give it a preferred.
Yeah, because it was pretty good. Next up, we have the Preferred Few, episode 10, which was a milestone for the Preferred Few, with special guest, kind of another milestone, someone who is looked at as is a celebrity, technically, if you put it down to has been on television, which is Flapjack. The Preferred Few, episode 10 with Flapjack. This was such a funny episode. A super funny video, preferred.
Flame. I say preferred because Flab is Flab.
Yeah.
She's our buttermilk pancake.
And also, she's going to be funny no matter what.
Exactly. I mean, that's literally her shtick.
Next up, we have Rate This Queen, which was a very interesting video.
I think it just wasn't the tea.
The tea. Yeah, for me, because I forget about it, it's going to be an
It wasn't the tea of coffee.
Preferred. Next up, we have the Preferred Trivia Show, episode 3, with the repeating guest of Amber and Gina. I remember Gina beating your ever-living so I'm going to give it a preferred just for that.
Look.
Because you lost again. So why can't you accept defeat? Yeah. So next up, we have the Preferred Few, episode 11, with Jacqueline Jillian. This was a very chaotic episode. I remember it was the most chaotic episode of the Preferred Few. So I'll give it a preferred. All right. Next up, we have Our Preferred Queens of RuPaul's Drag Race, which, was another Our Preferred Choice episode. So I'm going to give this one a preferred.
I'm going to give this one a preferred too, because I loved seeing like the difference between our favorites.
Next up, we had a new installment to the channel, which was Newer News. So for me, it is an preferred.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Next up on the channel, we have Fast Food Ads with Gina, which was Gina's winning video from the Preferred Trivia Show that she got to do. So this is going to be a preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred too, because it was very quirky.
Next up, we have the Preferred Few, episode, I believe 12, yes, with the one, the only Deja Amore. Tina Shade, it's an unpreferred. It was so boring. Next up, we had Our Preferred Drag Race Part 1, which is where we put together our preferred queens into a drag race simulator. And this was a pretty interesting video. So for me, it is an unpreferred.
I also agree.
Yeah, it wasn't tea. Next up, we have another Becoming episode, Becoming Dawn, where I attempted to become Dawn from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16. I'm going to put preferred.
Keyword attempted.
Wow.
I'm going to give it a preferred.
Next up on the channel, we had Celebrating Pride, which is where I did a vlog of all of the Pride events that I had going on. So for me, this was it was celebrating everything. It was preferred.
We'll celebrate preferred.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Preferred Trivia Show, episode 5, which was the final episode of the Preferred Trivia Show. Such a sad face. So I'm going to give it a preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred.
Next up, we have the Preferred Few episode 13. I keep getting these episodes confused. Episode 13 with Diamond Swisher from the LaGrange/Auburn area. So yeah, this was an incredible preferred. It was such a relaxed moment. We had so much fun. We kikied the entire time. Hands down preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred.
Next up on the channel, we had Our Preferred Drag Race Part 2, which was the continuation of Our Preferred Drag Race Part 1, where we put our Drag Race queens into a simulator. I'm preferred.
Yeah,
it just wasn't tea. Next up, we have another Becoming episode, which was Becoming Gottmik, an incredible, I think actually the last Drag Race girl I've done so far. This was preferred. It was very, very nice. I liked the makeup. I did not look like Gottmik at all, in my opinion. However, and no one agreed with me, or no one disagreed with me. However, the makeup as a whole was very nice, so preferred.
I'm going to say preferred for Got Milk.
Next up on the channel, we had Celebrating 1 Year on YouTube. I don't remember this video at all.
I don't remember this
I don't
video.
remember what we did. So for that specifically, I'm preferred.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what we
it.
did. Next up, we had the Preferred Few Rewind, which was kind of like a look back at all of the best moments of the Preferred Few. This video didn't do well, but I'm going to give it a preferred because it was a very nice and moment. And it was also right before a year of the Preferred Few, with the first guest being you. And actually some behind the scenes tea. We're actually wearing the same exact outfits from the very first episode of the Preferred Few.
If you've watched the videos on the channel, you would know that.
Yeah. So I'm going to give this a preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred.
Next up on the channel, we have Our Preferred Canadian Queens, where we did an Our Preferred Choice episode where we ranked Canadian queens from Canada's Drag Race. And I remember this being a good episode, so I'm going to say preferred.
I'm going to say preferred too because A, it's Canada.
Next up, we have another Becoming episode, which was Becoming Chapel Rowan, which I tried to attempt. Rowan. Yeah.
Rowan.
Which I tried to attempt the makeup of Chapel Rowan. So for me, this one's going to be an preferred.
Honestly, I forgot about this one, so I'm just gonna keep this up.
Yeah. After that, though, we had RuPaul's Drag Race Trivia, where Gina and Amber went head to head to see who knew the most about Drag Race Trivia. And to me, it was an unpreferred.
No, you did get in drag with us, because you got pictures done. I'm pretty sure. I thought.
Oh, it was the pink pictures.
Yeah.
It is still unpreferred.
I'm gonna give it preferred. Even though I lost. Again.
Next up, we had the Preferred Few episode 14 with the one, the only Falcon, who was the first king on the channel. To hear that him and his family really, really enjoyed watching it kind of made my entire mood of my YouTube. So I'm going to give it a preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred because Falcon's my brother.
Next up, we had Our Preferred Winners of Drag Race, where we ranked our preferred winners of Drag Race. Yeah, crazy how that works. I'm going to give it a preferred because it was a very funny video. I also kind of feel like it was a repeat of our preferred Drag Race queens, but...
Well, I'm going to give it a preferred because of the over 600 views.
Next up, we have Becoming Divine, which was an episode of the Becomings where I attempted to do Divine's makeup. So I'm going to say unpreferred.
I agree. Again, I also think this is just one that, like, your face isn't big enough to be able to have the canvas for it.
Next on the channel was another episode of the Preferred Few, episode 15, with the one, the only Olivia Giselle. This from Tuscaloosa. Definitely a preferred.
I'm gonna give it a preferred.
Next up, we had a day in the life of a preferred, which was a vlog of my everyday, day-to-day life. Specifically, a day of my shift at the start. This was a very quirky video, preferred. Only regret is I wish I would have filmed the back, like, where the queens were getting ready, because I'm always the server for the drag queens, but I feel like that would have been a little too invasive. But I still give it a preferred.
Yeah, I give it a preferred.
Next up, we had the Preferred Few episode 16 with Reese Cox to celebrate the Halloween season, so I'm going to give it a preferred.
I'm going to give it a preferred.
Next up on the channel, to keep up with the spooky season, we had Our Preferred Monsters of Dragula, where we ranked our preferred entertainers of the franchise, the Bouley Brothers Dragula. Preferred. So good.
Preferred.
So incredible.
Our looks were fantastic.
And it was just overall like... Next up, we had Becoming Ookie Spooky, which is where I attempted to do some special effects makeup for the Halloween season. The end result was meh, so I'm gonna give it an preferred. To end the Halloween season, Amber and I traveled to a haunted house, Conjure, to do a little vlog moment as we walked through the haunted house, and we did Getting Spooked with Amber, of course. To, like I said, fully wrap up the Halloween season. It was a very good idea. I had such high hopes for it, but the end product as a whole and what I had to work with editing wise leaves me with an unpreferred.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2.
Next up, we had the Preferred Few episode 17 with Cherry Jawbreaker. I'm gonna give it a preferred.
I'm gonna give it a preferred.
Next up, we had our preferred Snatch Games, which I believe, no, it's one of the most recent Our Preferred choices on the channel, and it was pretty funny, so I'm gonna give it a preferred.
I'm gonna give it a preferred.
Next up, we had a brief message, which was a brief message to the channel. Honestly, full tea, I didn't have time to do a video. But for the vulnerability, I want to give this a preferred. For slipping up and just having life things, though, I'm gonna have to give it an unpreferred.
Yeah.
Next up on the channel, we had the Preferred Headquarters tour, which was a revisit to the drag room tour, except we expanded and did all of the apartment and shared the news that you had moved in officially. Yeah. I'm gonna give it a preferred.
Yeah, it was very, very fun.
Next up, we have Multidimensional X Preferred, which is another vlog moment where I traveled to a booking at the Nick for the Multidimensional Productions. I'm gonna give it a preferred.
I'm gonna give it a preferred.
Yeah. Next up on the channel, we had the Preferred Few episode 18 with Diamond Wellington. Such a good video.
It was so good.
I'm gonna say preferred.
I'm gonna say preferred because I just love Diamond in general.
Mm-hmm. On the most recent episode of Our Preferred Choice, we did our preferred holiday movies, where we ranked our preferred holiday movies, and this was a very nice episode. Immediately a preferred.
Yeah,
so good.
100%.
And the most recent video on the channel besides this one is Becoming Rarity Preferred, which is where I did the makeup of Cherry Jawbreaker, who was episode 17 of the Preferred Few. The end result was so incredibly good, so preferred.
I'm gonna give it a preferred.
But with all of those videos caught up on whether we prefer or unpreferred them, it's time to get into some awards. And starting with, of course, we gotta flush down the drain before it gets too much, is the 2024 stinker, which we shall leave to the biggest stinker of all. I to announce it. So what is the 2024 stinker?
Getting Spooked with Amber.
Yeah.
Does that really count though, being it hadn't really had that much time on there?
I mean, yeah. It's time for something hot with our hot pick. So this one was actually a tiebreaker. The hot pick is what was the most popular on the channel, what had the most views, what everyone liked. So the first one was Newer News episode 6, which for some reason got 1.2 almost a million. 1.2k views. I cannot speak. I don't remember what we talked about on this. I think it was actually Drag Race season 17 that may have spiked it. But I don't really count that because it was a random episode of Newer News that randomly for some reason spiked. So the one I'm going to be counting as the actual hot pick is our preferred winners of Drag Race, which had 681.
Okay, same.
Yeah, we love to see it.
Same.
Next up in the list of awards, we have the 2024 fan favorite, which is going to be the Preferred Few guest who holds the highest views and the highest guest interaction. And of course, we're going to have it announced by the passed down winner of the 2023 fan favorite, the very first guest on the Preferred Few, the one, the only Amber Valentine.
Man, I'm just fabulous at everything I do, aren't I?
Anyway, so who is the winner?
So the winner and your fan favorite of 2024 is, drumroll please, Diamond Swisher at 282.
Yeah, so currently holds the record for the most views on the Preferred Few. Beating your record.
Bumped me down to second place.
Yeah.
Come on.
How's it feel to be a loser? And next up, for the final score, besides, of course, our personal faves, we have the preferred one, which is going to be a brand new award. The preferred one goes to those who was professional from starting, easy to work with, extremely nice, extremely kind, and overall had a incredible experience on the channel. And that is the one, the only Diamond Wellington.
Yay! Yeah.
So crazy to think we had two diamonds who were top picks. Diamond Wellington from start to finish was easy to work with, was so graceful to help me with my schedule at the time, And then when we actually filmed, it was such an incredible time. So.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah, so Diamond Wellington, come get your little award. And we will also be seeing more of Diamond Wellington on the channel as well, for we have some things planned in the near future. Yeah. So next up, we have our preferences. So we hold 2 cards in our hands with our personal favorite video on the channel.
So my preference from all videos in 2024 on the channel is funny and hilarious because it's been mentioned a few times. And that is our preferred winners of Drag Race.
Wow. Okay. So my preferred video as a whole for the 2024 season is going to be the one, the only, Celebrating Pride.
Okay, I support it.
Such a quirky video. I feel like it brought the true meaning of Pride for me and for those around who were in the video and involved in the video. And I think it was last year. I think I have a thing for vlog videos, because last year my pick was the Six Flags video, Sajay at Six Flags, and this year was another vlog video.
Come on, Pride.
But that is 2024. 2024 on the preferred channel. What a crazy year. So many crazy things. So many crazy and amazing guests that have been on the channel. It's crazy to think that we started with you as the very first The Preferred Few guest, and now we are 19 technically episodes in. With the 2024 season coming at an end, where can they follow you into the 2025 season?
Y'all can follow me at Amber_V_Valentine on all social platforms for new, things to come.
Things to come into the new year. Make sure to follow me on all my socials at The Only Preferred for brand new looks, gigs, and exciting things to come on the Preferred channel in the 2025 season.
Yeah.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for a brand new video here on the channel every single Sunday, including in 2025, and a brand new season 2 with a brand new format and a brand new backdrop coming January 1st. Only on MTV. Until next time, stay preferred.
Stay full of love.
And always stay ready for the new year.